I have the first expansion to be put out by itself for the Pathfinder adventure card game. It is part of the Rise of the Runelords adventure path that they're doing with that. And the first Rise of the Runelords adventure path part came in the base game. So even though this is Adventure Deck 2, it's the first one to actually be released by itself. So you're going to get 2 packs of cards in here. And then you open them up and sort them out into their different piles, and then I'll go through each one. So I have all the cards separated and sorted out into their different piles. So you have your adventures and scenarios here, new locations, new villains, new henchmen, which there are a lot of new henchmen, some new monsters, some new barriers, weapons, armor, items, spells, allies, some new blessings, and then a few new loot cards. So we'll start out looking at the actual adventure and then the scenario cards that go along with it. So we have, you have first the Skinsaw Murders. I don't know if I actually gave the name. This is the Skinsaw Murders adventure deck. So you can see it has 5 scenarios to it. And the first of which is the Undead Uprising. And you can see the henchmen it tells you to use there. 1, 2, 3. There's 4 different henchmen. And it tells you the special things, rules for the scenario, and then what you get once you defeat the scenario. And then you have the next one is going to be Crowbait. You can see it's just a couple of different henchmen in that one. Gives you your special rules, and then you can see you get random armor. And we have the Foul Misgivings is the next one that comes in line. Looks like you just get haunts as a henchman in that. A lot of special rule explanation there. And then the characters get a skill feat. We have the Cult Exposed. And it's like Skinsaw Cultist is your henchman. The characters get a random spell, and if you acquire a spell, you bury a card. And the last one in the adventure, the last scenario in the adventure, you have Scarecrow Golem and Charmed Faceless Stalkers as your henchmen. You have some special rules, and it looks like you get a lot of loot. The Impaler of Thorns, a Medusa Mask, a Sahedron Medallion, and a Snakeskin Tunic. So we'll take a look at those loot cards real quick. You have the Impaler of Thorns, which looks like it's a 2-handed spear, a magic weapon. You can see it's got a lot of rules there. You have a Medusa Mask. It's a magic accessory that you can have. You have the Sahedron Medallion. It's another magic accessory with some special rules and some recharge special rules. And then you have a Snakeskin Tunic, which is a light magic armor. You're going to get a few new locations in this, and they're going to be the Foxglove Manor. I believe that's a Sandpoint location. And you can see gives you some special rules, what you have to do to close it, and the effect when it's permanently closed. You can see it's got the list of everything you do to set up that location. You have Hobby's Sanatorium. You can see it's got the same layout. You have the mill, and you have the Shadow Clock. So those are your new locations. We have the new villains here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're gonna get 6 new villains. So you get Kazarlu Zarin, and he's a human necromancer. Aisha Foxglove, she's an undead revenant. Justice Ironbriar, a cleric rogue. Rogers Craesby is an undead ghast. The Skinsaw man, I'm guessing he's the big bad. He's an undead ghoul. And Zanesha, she's a Lamia. I believe she's actually the final villain in the adventure. You're going to get a nice stack of new henchmen here. It's probably the biggest stack of all of them in here. You're going to get Charmed Faceless Stalkers. They're an aberration. You're going to get 6 of those, it looks like. You get Dr. Habe. It's a human. You get the Ghoul Scarecrow. You get 6 of those. So that's an undead ghoul. You get Graced Sevilla, a human fighter, but he believes he turns into a ghoul or a ghast. You have some Haunts, which are just undead. Looks like you get 6 of those. You got Pidget Turgleson, a were-rat. A Scarecrow Golem. You have Skinsaw Cultist. You get 6 of those, and they're just kind of a human cultist. And you have a zombie minion. Looks like you get 5 of those. And there's just an undead, a zombie. You get a few new monsters. You get a Carrion Storm. A couple of those. A couple of diseased rats. A couple of normal faceless stalkers. And a few ghouls. We have some new barriers. Falling Bell. Get 2 of those. That's kind of a, looks like a perception based or a dexterity acrobatics. Tactical defeat. You have a locked stone door. You have a Skinsaw ritual. And you get 3 of those, and a zombie horde. You get 3 of those. Or 2 zombie hordes, and then another one's a zombie nest. Those look like they summoned monsters the last couple. You're going to have some new weapons here. You get a couple of heavy pick +1s, a light crossbow +1, scythe, a couple of scythe +1s, a sickle +1, and a couple of war razors +1. You get a few sets of armor here. We have arrow catching studded armor, a Deathbane shield, and hired armor of fire resistance. Your items that you get: a chime of unlocking, you get a couple of those, a cloak of elven kind, a couple of those, and a ring of protection, 2 of those. You get a nice handful of spells here: consecration, that one, haste, lightning bolt, toxic cloud, and web. You get a few new allies here. We have Brodert Quink, Maester Grump, a merchant, and a merchant. And then the last thing you're going to get in this is some new blessings. Looks like 5 blessings here of Abadar. And it's going to let you do some new discard for dice rolls. So those are just a quick look at all the cards that come in the Skinsaw Murders Adventure deck for the Rise of the Runelords Pathfinder Adventure card game.